Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and very warm welcome to all an online class organized by Metropolitan School. I am your teacher for chemistry of class 9. Today we start our first chapter. For understand the term chemistry, we should know about the matter. Now, what is matter? Anything which occupies space and has a mass is called matter. Everything or anything in our surroundings are matter. Even human being is also a matter because human being has a mass and occupies space. As you know, matter has 3 states. We will discuss about states of matter in upcoming chapters. So today, we will discuss about the definition of chemistry, importance of chemistry, and the history or different periods of chemistry. Now, we are moved towards the definition of chemistry. Chemistry is the branch of science, deals with the composition, structure, and properties of matter. It also deals with the changes involved in the matter. Many people think of chemist as being white-coated scientist mixing strange liquids in a laboratory. But the truth is, we are all chemists. We are all doing many experiments in our daily life, like making ice, cooking food, and many more. Medicine, engineering, agriculture, and all other fields are dependent on chemistry. Have you ever asked yourself this question as to why do we study chemistry? What do we get from learning all these elements and compounds and their applications? Well, the importance and scope of chemistry are very huge. The importance of chemistry. The study of chemistry is important because everything you do is chemistry. Even your body is made of chemicals. Chemical reactions occur when you breathe, when you eat, and many more things involved in this. Without chemistry, it would be extremely hard for us to live. We need chemistry and chemicals for everything we do. As you know, the plants are autotrophs. Plants are the biggest example of chemistry or chemical reaction involved in the process. The plants produce food for themselves through the process of photosynthesis, which is complex chemical reaction in itself. We use detergents and soaps for cleaning, bathing, washing, and etc. They are a mixture of chemicals with cleaning properties. They are manufactured in chemical industries through saponification of fatty acids. All these are the chemical reactions. Drugs or medicines are made of chemicals which are produced in pharmaceutical industries. Medicines are the best example of chemistry which save us from diseases and make us able to live a better life. After understand the term chemistry, we are moved towards the history of chemistry. The history of chemistry represents a time span from ancient history to the present. Chemistry has not made by a day. It has a big history. Many scientists have worked for making chemistry useful. To know history of chemistry, we have to go back in the early age of science. Since the ancient time, scientists working on this subject. For their contribution, we are blessed with many things such as we can get medicines, different kinds of food and many more. Now there are three main periods in the history of chemistry. Number 1, the Greek period. Number 2, the Muslim period. Number 3, the modern period. Now, the Greek period. The Greek philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, and many other scientists contributed a lot in number of small ways to the early development of chemistry. Chemistry from the very beginning was used in a number of arts and crafts such as pottery making, glass making, dyeing, and metallurgy. Now here is the term metallurgy. We can define metallurgy. The meaning of metallurgy is the products formed from the metals. The scientists introduced the concept of elements, atoms, and chemical reactions. They thought that all matter was derived from four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. Means, in the Greek period, scientists thought that any matter derived from these four elements. These elements have their properties of their own, such as hot, dry, cold, and wet. According to them, earth was dry and cold, air was cold, fire was hot and dry, water was cold. The Romans developed the chemical arts still further. They also improved the metallurgical process and introduced the enameling of pottery. Their works were empirical, means experimental. The traditional data for the ending of classical Greek periods is the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC. Now we move to the second period, the Muslim period. There is a lot of contribution of Muslim scientists in the field of chemistry. The Muslim period was from 600 to 1600 AD in the history of chemistry, and it is known as the period of alchemists. In this, alchemists developed and used many laboratory equipments such as funnel, beakers, flasks, and many more items. Muslim scientists made rich contribution to the various branches of science, especially in the field of chemistry, and introduced scientific methods and experimentations. All these equipments or apparatus you will see in the chemistry lab. When we go there, all things I show you with their names. So, without any delay, we are moved towards the contribution of Muslim scientists. Muslim scientists made rich contributions in the field of chemistry and introduced scientific methods and experimentations. Chemistry is one of the great parts of science, study in which Muslims have made significant contributions and they developed it to a high degree of perfection. The contribution of Muslim scientists to the conception, growth, and development of chemistry is unforgettable. Muslim scientist Jabir bin Hayyan. He is generally known as the father of alchemy. He invented experimental methods for the preparation of nitric acid, hydrochloric acid, and white lead. He also developed the methods for the extraction of metals from their ores and dyeing cloths. Now, here is another term, ore. The meaning of ore is impure form of metals. So, he developed the method for purifying the metals and he also gave the procedure of dyeing cloths. Al-Razi. He was the physician, alchemist, philosopher, and an expert surgeon. He was the first to use opium as anesthesia. Now, what is anesthesia? Anesthesia is the state of controlled temporary loss of sensation or awareness that is induced for medical purposes. And opium is the chemical which used as anesthesia. He divided the substances into living and non-living origins. He prepared ethyl alcohol by the fermentation process. Al-Biruni. He contributed a lot in physics, mathematics, metaphysics, geography, and history. He also determined the densities of different substances. Density. Density is known as mass over volume, means in given amount of volume, how many grams of mass is present. Ibn Sina. He is also a poet and great Islamic scholar. He is famous for his contribution in the field of medicines, philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy. Here, astronomy defined as the study of celestial objects, space, and their phenomena. The most important contribution to medical science was his famous book Al-Qanun fi al-Tib. Ibn al-Hashim. He was a pioneering scientific thinker who made important contributions to the understanding of vision, optics, and light. All of these are the famous Muslim scientists who contribute and take a part in the history of chemistry. Now we move another period, which is the modern period. The modern period. When we think about modern chemistry, the first thing comes to our mind, which is about the 16th and 17th century. These centuries are known as the starting time of new modern chemistry. At that time, there was a big development made in metallurgy. In the 16th and 17th centuries, saw the beginnings of what we now recognize as modern chemistry. During this period, great advances were made in metallurgy. The extraction of metals from ores and the first systematic quantitative experiments were carried out. Now, here some scientists of modern period. Robert Boyle. He was the first to put forward the idea that chemistry should be regarded as a systematic investigation of nature with the sole aim of promoting knowledge. Joseph Black, he made a study of carbon dioxide. Joseph Priestley, he discovered oxygen, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen chloride. All these are chemicals. Shelley, he discovered chlorine. Cavendish, he discovered hydrogen. Lavoisier, he discovered that oxygen constituted about 1/5 of air. John Dalton, he made a great stride in chemistry with his atomic theory of matter. The idea of atoms and molecules became established fact, and the concept of atomic weight was also given by John Dalton. Now, we are moved towards the definition of chemistry. Chemistry is the branch of science, deals with the composition, structure, and properties of matter. It also deals with the changes involved in the matter. Many people think of chemists as being white-coated scientists mixing strange liquids in a laboratory. But the truth is, we are all chemists. We are all doing many experiments in. Now, it's a time to review what we have learned today. We understand the term chemistry with the help of different examples and the main thing, matter. Again, I define the chemistry as chemistry is the branch of science, deals with the composition, structure, and properties of matter. Or, chemistry is the study of matter, its properties, how and why substances combine or separate two from other substances, and how substances interact with energy. Chemistry uses several complementary disciplines as well, such as technology and mathematics, to carry out its function. And after this, we discussed in detail the history in the field of chemistry. There are the remarkable advancements in the history of chemistry. There are three main periods: the Greek period, the Muslim period, the modern period. Chemistry has grown up quickly in this modern era, and in 21st century, scientists are working for developing the chemistry. Now, it's a time for assignment. Assignment number 1. Week 1 of July 2020. Question number 1. Define chemistry and describe its importance. This topic we discussed in the start of this lesson. Question number 2. Write down the note on historical development of chemistry with special mentioning of the contribution of Muslim scientists in the field of chemistry. Question number 3. Write down a short note on modern period of chemistry. We discuss all these questions in our lecture, so it's easy for you. I hope you will enjoy the lesson. Inshallah, we meet soon. Take care of yourself. Have a nice day. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.